YouTube, just so you know. Sometimes it's different periods. Sometimes I forget. And then by the time I get to period 5, I say. All right, so we're going to do 1.3b. We're going to learn how to write a piecewise function, and we are going to learn how to graph step functions. So our 2 topics today are, if I give you a graph, can you write a piecewise function of it? Then how to graph a step function, which is exactly as it's described. Steps, step, step. So I've got these horizontal lines that make steps. And they're all y equals, y equals, y equals, because horizontal lines are that format for equations. So let's turn to page 2 where I left off. This is where I left off. And I did not do this evaluate right here. And that's what I'm starting right now. So you're all with me? Okay. No, the f of x, right? F of x, there's always an x in parentheses. Sorry, somebody wants to come in to the meeting. Okay, f of x. So that means f of -4, x is -4. If, man, I wrote so big. That was last night. If x equals -4, what is y? So now I'm going to go to my graph, and I'm going to look, and I'm going to see that along the x-axis at -4, what's my y value that is included in my graph, that is drawn? What's my y value? And I obviously will take, you know what, you guys? You all have your participation points. No, that's not true. Ashley, Aaron, Kayla, Anastasia, Alex, Christine, Jimena, Ari, I would love to hear from you. These ones are the easiest. Why don't you volunteer for these ones? When x is at -4, what's y at? Somebody's whose name I just called? What's y at? What's my finger at on the y? Jimena.
Is it +4?
It is +4. Great. Next. If x is -2, all right. I've got a blue open circle. A blue open circle means not included. A blue open circle means not part of the solution, excluded. Anastasia, I saw your hand up. So should I pick blue open circle or green closed circle, Anastasia?
Wait, what?
When x is -2,
Oh, yeah, you should click choose the green closed circle.
Green closed circle, and what is that at along the y-axis?
-5.
-5. When x is -2, y is -5. Thank you, ma'am. Okay, okay, when x is 1, go over 1. And look, I've got a pink closed circle and I've got a green open circle. So I don't want to choose anything that's like excluded. So Christine, hi.
You choose -1.
Yeah, the pink, I sure do. Good. All right, you will love today. You will love today because we have 2 problems to do. The problem that you did in the workbook, where you were given those horizontal lines and you had to draw and write down the piecewise function, is good practice for this right here. You also have seen something like this in your homework last night. So we're gonna just like go more in detail with it. Your notes, remember, are different. You have extra notes in yours, and remember how, well, this year we are not teaching everything in full because it's just not feasible and it's not smart when we're teaching online. And so that means that your notes were a little different and we cut out some information and we're saving some stuff for like your pre-calc teachers. So your notes are different. Please find this problem in your notes. You might have to turn a page. Here we go. Absolute value function. F of x equals x can be written as a piecewise function. Graph it and then write it as a piecewise function. Absolute value, guys, you need to have this memorized. It's a V-shaped. The parent function is the vertex. And then over 1, up 1. Over 2, up 2. Over 3, up 3 from the vertex. Over 4, up 4. Right? So the vertex of this is what? I would love a volunteer, a new volunteer from. What's the vertex of this parent function y equals f of the absolute value of x? Someone that I need to give points to. I still haven't seen a new name. Kayla.
Is it 0, 0?
It's 0, 0. So please make a mark at 0, 0. And then you're going to do, let's get in there, really good. Absolute value parent function. Over 1, up 1. Over 2, up 2. In both directions, right? Over 3, up 3. I mean, you can go on forever, but we won't because. Okay. Connect the dots, la, 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 la. Okay. Now, so I graphed it. Now I need to write a piecewise function. Piecewise functions are in the following format. That's how you set it up. And now I'm going to list what my two linear equations are. I'm letting you know that my absolute value is made up of two linear equations. Here's one of them. It's an uphill line. Here's the other one. It's a downhill line. I need to write two separate pieces. If it were a parabola and it were fluid and continuous, I'd be great. But this is actually two pieces. So let's start with the upward piece. I want to know what's the equation of this pink line in y equals mx plus b format. So that's first. What's the equation of this line in y equals mx plus b format? If some of my people who haven't helped would love to, I mean, I'm still interested in you. Aaron, Alex, Ari, Matt, A. What's my begin and what's my slope? And then you can do y equals mx plus b. Ari.
The slope is 1.
Yeah.
So it would be x.
And then there's no y-intercept. So this is what it looks like. 1x plus 0. But we don't ever write it like that. You just write y equals x. Okay. Now, my restrictions. I want to know where this line's, because remember how my restrictions are written in this format? Like an x is greater than something, or if it's in between. This is not in between. It's not in between because it goes on forever. So it's going to be greater than something. So there's no in between on this. It's going to look like this. X is something greater than or less than. Okay. So where does my graph start? What number does it start at? And then is it greater than, like bigger, going to the right? So I need a volunteer to tell me how to write the restriction, or the constraint, we call it. Okay, I'll tell you. Its x is greater than or equal to 0. Because it's at 0, and then it goes larger. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Okay. I included the 0, greater than or equal to, in my positive. What's the equation, somebody, of my downhill pink in y equals mx plus b form? Downhill pink. Troy. Troy, or someone else then? Equation of my downhill pink. Chisholm.
X is less than 0.
That's the restriction. I'm going to write that right now because you are on it. I don't know why I did a semicolon. It's just a comma. It's not a semicolon. Troy, what's the equation of my downhill pink?
Negative x.
Negative x. Y equals negative 1x plus 0. Y equals negative x. Close your beautiful little bracket and you're done. I just wrote a piecewise function for absolute value. I did not do, by the way, everybody's been asking, why is this not included? Because I've already included it in my uphill pink. I'm not going to include it twice, my 0. You never include a number twice. Step functions. Okay. I'm still going to write what the equations are. F of x is the same as y equals. We're going to start using f of x now. F of x equals negative 2. Y equals negative 2. These are all horizontal lines. It's called a step function. A step function looks like a staircase and it has horizontal segments that only have one closed circle and then one open circle. Okay? So if you need this, great. But again, what I'm writing right now is just like easy, the easier way to look at it. But I'm going to stop this soon. I'm stopping this this is kind of like me holding your hand and writing down. This is definitely me holding your hand. Okay? So let's do purple. Please take a look at this pattern. In between -5 and -1, the closed circle starts out, that's my endpoint, and then there's an open circle. Closed circle, open circle between -1 and 1. Closed circle, open circle. Can you go through and make those dots right now? Like this, closed circle, open circle. Go through so that you have an easy time as you're going through this. This is the pattern. One end is a closed circle, the other end is an open circle. That's the pattern with piecewise functions. When it's in between, and these are all between. All right. Here we go. Now, my y equals -2. Horizontal line at -2. Closed circle at -5, open circle at -1. Here's -5. Here's -1. On the horizontal y equals -2, there's my closed circle at -5, open circle at -1. Connect it, make a little step. Next, y equals +1. That's right here, y equals +1. Oh, in between -1 and 1, here's 1. Closed circle at -1, open circle at 1. Make the connection. Y equals 3 is in between 1 and 3. Here's 3. Closed circle at 1, open circle at 3. Go y equals 3. That's this horizontal line right there. Yeah. Between 3 and 4. Closed circle at 3. Oh, this is super close together. Oh my gosh. Wow. Any questions so far as I keep going? 6. In between 4 and 7. Does this seem easy to you? Can you do this, you think? Okay. Your homework's on Pearson. It's only 4 problems, and it's just like these 2. Practicing this. Tomorrow we're going to do word problems. We're going to talk about how is a piecewise function in real life. And trust me, they're everywhere. There's so many circumstances in the world that involve piecewise functions. You just don't know about them yet. Okay, so let me stop the recording.